Hello, thanks for joining me for a parent chat tip session. My name is Kevin Kaplan, and I work in early childhood mental health consultation at the Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. Today's topic is boost self esteem and motivation, what parents need to know about praise, tips for caregivers. An overview of what I'm bringing to you today is what is praise with encouragement? When is it most helpful? What are the types of praise? Examples of those types. We'll talk about tips and we'll talk about an action plan. Let's define the keywords here. What is praise? The Oxford Dictionary tells us that it's words that show you approve of and admire somebody or something. And encouragement is the action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope. When is it helpful? Well, let's start by thinking when it's not so helpful. That is when it judges someone's ability or skill. It points out good or bad behavior. It focuses on character traits of the person. The adult doing the praise is busy doing other things when they're praising. It's more helpful when it describes what happened, uses clear and specific language or words so the child knows exactly what we're praising, focuses on efforts, not on the opinions of us. It is done by a sincere and present adult. I have two types here. The research tells us there's evaluative praise and descriptive praise. We'll talk about this for a little bit and then we'll look at some examples of these. Evaluative praise is passing judgment on the child or person you're praising. The outcome of what they did, their ability, rather than their effort. It suggests they're good or bad. It leads to motivation from outside of oneself and relies on the approval of others. And the issue with that is not that it's going to necessarily damage them for life, but evaluative praise is less helpful because it is passing some kind of judgment. And who wants to be judged? Who wants to be graded all the time? And it's also an issue because it leads to motivation from outside. And what happens when you're not around? What happens when there's no adult around? So if we can replace more of our evaluative praise with the other type of praise, we might see better results over time. The other type of praise is descriptive praise, is making a positive statement in specific, observable, and measurable terms. This type of praise leads to motivation from within or responsibility of the child's own actions. So you need some examples, just hang tight, they're coming. Here's some examples of both. Evaluative praise. You're so awesome. Great job. Wow, you're a good artist. You're so smart. You're the best runner. Can you see how those types of praise are passing some form of judgment, either on the person or their ability, the outcome, or their character traits? So being a good artist is a character trait or an ability. It doesn't recognize necessarily that, maybe your child really isn't the best artist, but look at all the effort they put into making some art. Maybe they'll become a good artist, right? We want to build that motivation by focusing on their efforts. That's where descriptive encouragement comes in. These are some examples of good descriptive encouragement. You held the door for us, thanks. You threw away some trash. You colored inside the lines. Wow, you figured that out in 1 minute. You ran all the way to catch the ball. Can you see how we're describing what they did exactly? Yeah, we're using clear, specific language, right? They can get bigger than that. The descriptions can be bigger than that, and they can be smaller than that too. If we understand the basic idea behind this, you can mold it into whatever suits your needs. Here's some tips for success to help you along the way. Again, use clear and specific wording. I have a few examples of 3 different sentences here with some blanks in them, and you can make something like this for yourself too, or refer back to this one and make this one your starting point. but we'll look a little bit more through an action plan to help guide you. So the first one is, I see that you blank and blanked. You fill in the blank with anything. I see that you ate most of your food with your spoon. The next one is, you took the blank over to the blank. You took your plate over to the trash can. The next one is, you blank your blank. I'm sure you're thinking of something. You shared your toy with your sister. There's a lot of opportunities there with those blanks. Choose words that do not evaluate. It's not about if they're good or great, smart or strong. It's about encouraging them, such as, look at what you achieved. Describe the actions you notice. Really think about what you've seen here. Sticking with the facts while focusing on the behavior you want to see more of. That's really a good tip there for helping those kiddos, reinforcing that behavior that you want to see more of versus focusing on the behavior that you don't want to see, which is like, no, don't, stop that, quit that. That's focusing on the behavior you don't want to see. Attention can be like a flashlight. So focusing your attention on the things you want to see more of will help you see more of those things that will help your child do more of those things. Tips continued. Focus on the effort, not the end result. You keep working. You kept working on that, and look, you finished it. You got through most of your homework before dinner. I seen that you kept trying to look at how far you got. I'm sorry, I seen that you kept trying and look at how far you got. Those examples are really focusing in on the effort. It wasn't about whether or not the child finished it, but they did finish it in the first example. So we praised that. It wasn't about whether or not the child finished their homework, because they didn't, but they got through most of it before dinner time. So maybe we make a goal to finish it after dinner time for a little while, right? Versus focusing on what they didn't get done and being punished or punitive about that. We can give an added bonus of connection, and this is really a plus, a positive that you can include in your forms of praise. If you have other examples of other than what I've shared with you, think about ways you can incorporate this, not only with the action plan, but with your plan, whatever you're doing, if you have one. 4 things are eye contact, gentle touch, adult presence, and a playful situation. So if you can go around to the front of them and make eye contact, that will help make that connection with them. If you can provide some form of touch, if you can be present and not busy doing other things, and try to make some kind of playful situation. We definitely don't want to do, we're not going to make a connection when we're having a negative interaction, is the point here. So connection is really the basis of behavior, and making a connection with a child, a stronger connection. We all feel connected to children, but if we can make a stronger connection, that will help the child through the rest of their life be more successful. So your action plan is to try this out with your child. Think about 3 things your child does that you might want to praise. Practice describing those things in your head or on paper. When the time is right, try out those comments with your child. Make a note of your child's reaction and how they receive the comments. It might take lots of trial and error before you feel comfortable using this new skill. This is coming from the experts who know about all this stuff. If things don't go well the first time, keep practicing. With practice, you'll get there, and your relationship will really flourish from this. So how does all this lead to more motivation and self-esteem? Helpful praise increases motivation. When children learn their efforts are valued, they're more likely to repeat that effort. As they give more effort, it leads to results that can reinforce more effort. Helpful praise boosts self-esteem by noticing effort. Children learn to trust themselves. Trust in oneself supports further efforts. And those efforts lead to skills that can build confidence and a can-do attitude. So it's like a wave, and you keep feeding it, and it gets stronger and stronger. It doesn't mean we're not going to have bad days. Doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges, but this can help your kiddo bounce back, and your kiddo feel more motivated and trusting in themselves and their own abilities, rather whether or not we're good or bad, whether or not we were judged in a good way. This is about effort. This is about motivation and self-esteem, and building that connection and trust with your child, focusing on the positive interactions and the behaviors that you want to see more of. These are the resources that I use to draw this information together, and I hope that you got something from this. Feel free to contact us if you have concerns or questions. Thanks again for attending. Have a good day.